To a story we've been keeping an eye on overnight. Firefighters are still battling a blaze at Charlotte Maxeke Hospital in Johannesburg. Scores of patients are being moved to other facilities. Let's get the latest now from our reporter on the scene, Manqoba Mchunu. Manqoba, thank you so much. When we spoke to you about an hour ago, you explained to us that after they believed that they brought the fire under control, yesterday it had flared up again. And when we spoke to you just after 6, the firefighters were still very much battling that blaze. What's the latest from your side?
Well, Marcel, currently at this particular moment, we do understand that the fire has still not been contained. In fact, I just spoke to the EMS just a short while ago, who did indicate to us that in fact they are still busy inside or outside the building trying to extinguish that blaze. He did say earlier on that they were unable to extinguish that fire from inside that building due to the fact that parts of this building have now collapsed. We do understand that the third floor, which is a parking bay here, has caved in, and so it has been quite difficult for fire personnel to actually gain access to this particular building. But what was destroyed so far, what we know is that a storage facility that was used to store some of the surgical equipment here at the hospital has been destroyed. We do also understand that several cars that were parked inside this parking bay has also been destroyed. And just a few minutes ago, I did speak to some of the doctors who were here on shift when that fire reignited last night. And what they've been telling me at this particular point is that they've been busy the whole night trying to evacuate some of the patients. We do understand that about 800 patients have been affected, and they will be evacuated to other facilities that are closer to this particular place. But to get more on this, I'm now joined by Gwara Kekana, who is the spokesperson of the Gauteng Health Department. Gwara, thank you for your time. Let's start here. What do you know so far about what started this fire and what has been destroyed?
A very good morning to you, Manqoba, and to the viewers at home. I think the first thing is that, our colleagues from the city of Johannesburg, the firefighting team, would be better placed to explain exactly what is the cause of the fire. But I think at this stage, they're really, together with other municipalities, I've seen the engine from the city of Ekurhuleni as well. And of course, in the wee hours of this morning as well, there were other engines from other municipalities and other organizations and entities attempting to extinguish the fire and providing assistance to the city of Johannesburg firefighting services. But at this stage, we don't know what caused that fire, and hopefully the relevant authorities will be able to assist us with that information at a later stage.
And in terms of what has been destroyed, Gwara, what do we know so far? We know that this was a storage facility, but what was inside the storage facility?
So what is the specialized stores place that we had in this particular area where the fire, we understand, started, had surgical supplies, dry surgical supplies, and other medical items such as gloves and masks and other items as well that would have been stored in that particular storeroom, as the facility has explained to us.
And in terms of evacuations, we understand that some of the patients have been evacuated. Have all the patients here at the hospital been evacuated? What's happening now?
It has honestly been a tedious exercise. You can imagine attempting to evacuate a hospital of this magnitude, Manqoba. But initially what we had done yesterday is that we attempted to evacuate patients from one ward to another, wards that are a bit farther away from where the fire is, especially because, as a precautionary measure, looking at possible smoke inhalation of the patients. So we did that earlier on in the day, but then towards late evening, early evening towards the late evening, we began to then evacuate the hospital itself. It has been a tedious exercise because, again, you can imagine the size of the facility and the kind of level of care that this facility provides. So we've not evacuated all patients at this stage. The process is still underway, but we really have been evacuating patients and sending patients to as far as Steve Biko Academic Hospital in the Tshwane district, our in the psychiatric patients as well, to our facilities, Sterkfontein, Edenvale Hospital, you name it. So where we could find beds and the appropriate level of care for patients, we have evacuated those patients. But of course, that is still undergoing, that operation, Manqoba.
And in terms of the operations here at the hospital, how have they been affected?
So obviously, I mean, we've been on divert since yesterday. We've not been taking in patients. The main thing has been to evacuate patients and really referring anyone who's coming this way to our sister hospitals that are nearby. Of course, unfortunately, this has a negative effect on communities around that would be coming into the hospital to seek services. I think the initial response was to deal immediately with the outpatient department earlier on in the day around, noonish, one-ish, just to ensure that, because that's a bit closer, just to ensure that, there are no patients that were affected yesterday. So as things stand, that we don't have any recorded casualties. But of course, the evacuation process, like I'm saying, is ongoing, Manqoba.
And Kwaraj, I have to ask this, do you suspect that perhaps there could have been foul play when it comes to this fire, given the fact that there were some staff members here recently that were received their suspension letters, and they've been quite unhappy about this process? Do you, at this particular point, suspect that there could have been foul play?
Well, I'm not qualified to make that assertion, Manqoba, but I think one of the most important things, just as a basic, is that the department employs thousands and thousands of people. Consequence management takes place almost every day in the forms of, various, in line with labor relations, legislations and principles. We have no reason to suspect at this stage. But of course, like I said, the relevant authorities will be able to take us into confidence as to what is the cause of the fire. Is it arson? Is it not arson? Could it be any or other related elements within, whatever products in that area? But at this stage, we don't know what caused the fire, and we don't want to speculate.
Okay, thank you. There is Korakekana, who is from the Gauteng Health Department, speaking to us there, just saying that, they are currently trying to evacuate some of the patients here. Of course, operations have been hard hit here at the hospital due to the fire. I just want to step out of shot, Garrett, just to show you. You can see even now some of those fire personnel or officials are still busy there on the scene. We do understand that also one of the challenges that they're facing at this particular moment is around the issue of water supply. We do understand that some of the taps that supply water have been vandalized here at the hospital. So they have been battling to actually access the water from these pipes. So they've had to basically bring in some of the trucks that will bring in a water supply to the facility so that they will be able to extinguish this blaze. But we are keeping an eye on what's happening here, and we will update you later as to how this fire is going on.
Manqoba, before I let you go, I saw a report late last night on one of the social media platforms that the SAPS was deployed quite soon to the hospital, but not to help contain the fire or to help with the evacuation, but because they needed to secure the space because some criminals were already in position to take advantage of the situation, and 2 cars that had apparently been stolen from the parking lot there. Do you know anything further about that?
Well, at this particular point, I cannot confirm that myself, but we did see quite a number of police vehicles here at the entrance of the hospital. Of course, you understand that most of the sections here at the hospital at this particular point have been cordoned off due to this fire that broke out here. So they've been ensuring that none of those people that want to access the hospital are not allowed to go inside the hospital. But also, what we did see just a few moments ago, we did see some of the people, in fact, we saw one of the motorists here removing his vehicle from the parking here. We do understand that this was, of course, not authorized by the fire personnel officials themselves because of the danger that is associated with this fire. But we did see some of them removing the vehicles. We understand that some of them have been destroyed in this fire. But in terms of people or criminals that are trying to take advantage of the situation, that we have not confirmed at this particular point.
Thank you so much for that update. As always, Manqoba Mchunu on top of things live for us there outside Charlotte Maxeke Hospital.